What's good, fellas? Welcome to this presentation. Today, we have a special guest, Alex Valmont, who is a dating coach. He's helping guys all over the world with their dating life, so I thought I'd bring him on. And the topic is gonna be how to find your true value and attract women with your true value. So let me see if I can get him on. Let's see. Alex, here we go. All right, get you on.
Well, hello. Hi, everyone. What's going on? Hi, Trey. I'm just amazing. How are you?
I'm feeling powerful, strong. I was actually singing.
Hold on. I cannot hear you too well.
I'm about
Um, hold on. I got Give me 1 second. I think this is gonna be quick, if I'm honest.
Word.
Because you're getting caught up.
Yo, so now I can't hear you at all. All right. Hopefully we can make this work. Sometimes we do have some technical difficulties in the beginning, but let's just stay optimistic here. See if we can get this going. What's up? What's up? What's up, Jesse? What's up, Scott? What's up, Brandon? It's all good, bro. I understand you got to do what you got to do, but it's great that you're able to be here, bro. Let's see. That's what's up, bro. That's what's up, Brandon. Great to have you, man.
I think that I think that might just have done the trick.
Yeah, sounds nice, bro.
Yes, we are live, baby.
Hell yeah, bro. Cool, man.
Nice.
Let's jump right in it, bro, because I'm feeling good. I know it looks like you're feeling good too, bro.
I'm fired up. Let's go.
Hell yeah. All right, fellas. So welcome to this presentation. Today we got a special guest, dating coach that has actually become a brother to me. We stay in touch and we have some great conversations. So I thought I'd bring him on. The topic is gonna be how to attract beautiful women with your true purpose. So, or your true value, right? How to find your true value and how to communicate that to beautiful women. So, bro, can you introduce yourself to everyone? Who you are, how you got into the men's dating niche, and what you do.
Absolutely. So the main version of the story is me being very, very different. Call it like 12 years ago, right? And really, really liking a girl. And in the beginning, she liked me. After that, she didn't like me that much anymore. And it was a terrible experience for me. And at that point, I think that was a very critical moment because at that point, the idea crossed my mind that it might not be the world, it might be me,
Mm.
right? So I was like, okay, let's figure this out. Let's take this not to personally fix whatever I need to do, so that I get shit in order, I get shit done, and I get whatever it was that I always wanted. Maybe it was not necessarily that girl, but I just wanted access. I just wanted girls to like me back. I always had a super high sex drive, but the reception that I got was not the one that I wanted. And right then and there, I decided to change it. I decided to figure this out. And it's not really important what kind of technology I dove in. I mean, specifically, it was the mystery thing, the mystery method. It was a very, for those of you that actually know it, that have studied it, it's a very algorithmic, pragmatic approach, like a sequential approach to the game. Very interesting, but that's what I got started with, and that's where the journey started. And then it kind of evolved from year to year. I never stopped trying to understand, trying to figure this out, trying to enrich like the arsenal, right? And through that, it took me to places like understanding myself, which is something I'm super big on right now. And beyond that too, it took me to insane experiences as well, because um, I'm kind of nerdy and I'm big on understanding myself and all that, but enriching your life with experiences, being part of other people's lives, connecting to people, that is huge. That is what life is. And I need to have, we need, sorry, I think we need to have a balance of both, a healthy balance of like doing the work, eating your spinach, right? Understanding yourself, doing the due diligence, but also like taking and offering what's important in life, the relationships, the experiences. So that's what I'm all about today, keeping a balance and understanding your true value and communicating that as well. So those are two different things, but I'm sure we're going to dive into that very meticulously in this one. So that's basically been the gist of how I started and what got me here.
Got you. So I heard you mention that you found the mysteries book, the mystery method, right? So
Yeah.
did somebody introduce you to the book, or did you just search online, or you saw it in a bookstore, or how did you end up with the mystery method?
So specifically how it happened, and maybe that's a testament um, to like figuring it out no matter what it takes, was I remember I was still with that girl that later on, broke my heart, so to speak. And but at that time, a friend of mine showed me the reality show, The Pickup Artist, which was played on VH1,
Yeah.
right? And I remember looking at it and specifically looking at the lecture segments with the lingo and the lessons and all that stuff, and the theory basically. And I was super intrigued, but I was not motivated at that point. I was like, yeah, this is interesting, but nothing specifically called upon me to take action to actually put this into motion, right? And it was not until that girl broke my heart that I then revisited what I had seen and was determined to take it seriously. So I didn't even go to the show. What I did was I started looking up the same information by the same teachers and people online. And I found it on YouTube. And the first contact that I had was scattered bits and pieces of the method. So like back then, if you went on YouTube, you find like, for those of you that are familiar with the method, there's like segments, for instance, attraction, which is the first third of the method. And the attraction bit has three parts in it: attraction one, attraction two, attraction three. So there would be a video on attraction two somewhere. I would like, absorb that and really study it, take notes. And somewhere else, I would find like the seduction one part. And I would try to figure out how everything connects. And it was after like maybe a couple of months of trying to figure this out that I actually found out that there's a book. I got the book, and then it all made sense. I was like, oh, this is the sequence. And a really cool anecdote about it is too that I remember that was one of my first successes, so to speak, in pickup, which I mean, now I see it from a very different light, but from my point of view back then, it was me being in a Starbucks, reading that book, and peeking over, and there's this girl sitting down. I'm like, yo, I'm gonna try this right now. And I did what the book said. I chatted with a girl, and next thing you know, I actually, connected with her, and we had an experience together. And this was maybe one of the first just wins that I got from the whole method.
Wow. So your first time trying out the mystery method, it worked?
Um, I would say to try the mystery method, you need to be proficient with it, right? You need to know it from A to Z.
Yeah.
And this might be a very interesting point as well. Um, a lot of people try to do that a lot, and you see that with content because nowadays we have so much content and we can spend literal lifetimes viewing it and trying to understand it, taking notes and whatnot. And what a good question, because you're like, so the first time you tried the mystery method, it worked. And I could sit here and say, well, look, to try the mystery method, you need to study it. And when you're done studying it, you go out and then you figure it out. You figure out if it works. But that was not the mentality I had back then. Back then, I was like, this little video, like this little 3-minute video about attraction. I don't know the rest of the method. I'm just unaware and unfamiliar. But let me just try this. At least it's like the only thing I got is the one weapon in my arsenal. Let me figure this out. Let me do this. So to answer your question, yeah, it worked. The first time I tried the mystery method, it definitely worked.
Wow.
But it didn't get me late or anything like that. But it showed me that if I take action, I get a result and I can improve myself. And to me, that's what it is for it to work.
Wow.
I think a lot of people are very entitled and very not to start dissing and the bad energy or anything like that. But a lot of people are very entitled and they're like, I need the perfect result right now. And this is not the way to go about it, man.
Yeah, no doubt, bro. Now, what I thought was interesting about that is because I know in my journey when I just started out, my issue was the approach anxiety, right? So when you told me that story, me personally, I don't think I would have been able to approach that girl because approach anxiety would have came up. So did that? Did you have to deal with a lot of approach anxiety, or you didn't have to deal with that too much, or what?
That's such an interesting aspect of it because approach anxiety, there's many facets to it. And to me, that was not my biggest problem when I started. Um, I saw approach anxiety as something to, and this is something I tell my students as well. Um, approach anxiety is like one of the first hurdles. And this game, this sport, hobby, or discipline, it's a sequential thing. It's like a sequence. So you cannot, if you don't overcome the first obstacle, you don't get to play the rest of the game, right? So the mentality that I had back then, and the same mentality I try to communicate to whoever is interested in this, is look, I know that approach anxiety is an issue, and you're dealing with this right now. But 4 months down the line, there's going to be a bigger or like a different quality, higher quality problem that's going to take its place, right? So, and you're going to have dealt with approach anxiety. But approach anxiety is maybe at 10% of the journey. There's so many things to dial in until you can say that, I got this dating thing figured out, and I'm proficient at it right now, and I don't have an issue with it anymore. It's not a problem in my life. I got this shit sorted, right? So if you think, look, approach anxiety is this huge problem that I'm dealing with right now, but zooming out, you see that approach anxiety is just like one little thing you need to take care of to go to deal with the other 90% of like dating, which is not a problem, but it's interesting. There's like it's one thing you need to unlock to get into so much more interesting shit. So the moment you see it like that, as a like there's like plenty of tricks and theories and even like inner game shit that you can do to deal with approach anxiety. But the moment you see it like that, the moment you're like, look, unlocking this is just like I gotta get this over with soon because there's so much to explore. There's so much to do. So once you see it that way, then it's just not in your way anymore. Then it's just like enthusiasm. It's like, wow, like let's see what happens next, dude. You know? So this is, I think, a very, very healthy way to deal with approach anxiety as it arises.
Got you, got you. Okay. So I guess we can kind of go into your tagline on Instagram. I believe it says how to I believe it's how to communicate your true value without fear to women.
Exactly.
Yeah. So how do you do that? How do you communicate your true? What is your true value? What does that mean? What is a true value?
Beautiful question. So to me, true value is something that you inherently have as a human being. So, like I said before, knowing it and communicating it are, again, two different disciplines. So, in order to communicate it, the necessity is to know it first. So, let's start there. Okay. Um, I believe it's a matter of how you understand yourself, how you value yourself, your confidence and self-esteem. The confidence is rather second, but self-esteem is definitely the former. So your true value is understanding that you're not better than anyone, you're not worse than anyone, you are who you are, you're a unique concoction of experiences and genes and potential, and that's the biggest part. You have something very specific and unique to offer the world. And the deeper you dive into it, the more you can understand where you're coming from. And the better you understand yourself, the more solid your foundation is. So this is where you go off of. The way you look at people in the eye, it's not random. Whatever you know about yourself, you always know, and it always translates in the way you communicate. So moving on to the second bit, if you now know yourself, which is something that again you comes with years and contemplation, age, experience. The more you understand yourself, the more you know yourself, the more your boundaries are solid, the more you don't fear, the more there's no shadow left, ideally, because we're always struggling with it and grappling with it. But the more you do that, there's no shadow left for you to be uncertain of. So there's a very good example. Say that you're in the gym, and we're going to split this thought experiment in two different universes in a second. But you're in the gym, right? And you're doing your thing, you're doing your routine, and at some point you see a girl in front of you, and she's doing squats and she's wearing tight clothes, and it's a beautiful thing and a beautiful person to look at, and it's something that you enjoy. And she does her set, and then you get busted staring. She finishes, she looks back, and she like notices you staring, and she's like, yo, what the fuck do you think you're doing? Now, here's where we're going to split into two different universes. In the one universe, you're a guy who knows his true value and can communicate it. In the other universe, you're a guy who does not really understand his true value. You're a guy who still has a lot of what Jung calls the shadow still lingering on, right? So in the latter universe, the dude is gonna go like, um, look at his shoes, look at the floor, be very timid about it. He just got caught doing something, right? Obviously, that's gonna enrage the girl. It's gonna drive her to be really angry at him, and it's we all know this points to a very bad conclusion. However, in the other universe where the guy's confident about himself, he still gets caught, right? It's how you deal with it. So if you get caught doing something that may be frowned upon, but you're very secure about it, you know who you are, you know what you have to offer. Um, she's like, yo, what the fuck are you looking at? The guy's like, very confident, unflinching. Look, I just looked at you because you're super cute. My bad. If I made you uncomfortable, I promise I'm never going to do it again. But I'm sorry, it's a natural thing. That's what happens. So if you say that with confidence, obviously the result and blah, blah, blah is going to be a very different paradigm. However, the important thing here is this. The reason you're saying it is because you've gone down to the very deep and dark corners of your head and of your mind, and you've looked and you know that there's nothing to be scared of. There is nothing, you're not about to harm anybody. There's no way that somebody can intimidate you by telling you that you did something bad, because inside you know that you can't do anything bad. And that's true strength.
Yeah.
Or maybe you know that you can do something bad, but you're secure in yourself. You know yourself so well. Nobody can know you better than you know yourself. So that's a very different paradigm. So these two dudes are coming from a very different place, and that's because the second dude has done the work.
Got you. So your true value, it sounds like it's understanding yourself. It's the word I like to use is becoming grounded in your masculinity. So I think what's valuable to the world and to women is when a man can embrace his masculine energy and put it out there, but be grounded in it. So what I mean by that is, like, if somebody was to test him or challenge him or whatever, he will maintain his groundedness. He will stay centered and continue to be a masculine man. And that's exactly what you just described it from my perspective. Is that correct?
That is absolutely correct. We're saying the very same thing in different words.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what's up, bro. Cause yeah, when I started this group, like the main three qualities I focus on as far as being an attractive man was grounded masculinity. So basically stepping into your masculine energy, but being grounded in it. So essentially having direction, having purpose. So you're not just putting masculine energy out there and it's reckless. It's like you know what you're doing. You know what I mean? You know, as you said, you know who you are, you know where you're going. You know what I mean? You're coming from a positive place, positive intentions, and you're unapologetic, right? You're not afraid to be who you are. And that goes into the next part, which is authentic expression, right? So being able to express yourself authentically, like cutting the bullshit facade and the mask and the tough. I had to work on stop being so tough, just be more vulnerable. You know, like these girls are not looking for a dude to be tough in their face. Like there's a time to be tough, yeah, if there's a threat or some shit, right? But you're talking to a girl, there's no reason for me to be this tough guy image. I can chill out, relax, and connect and be vulnerable and share things with her that, show her I'm a real human being that has flaws and makes mistakes and stuff. And then the third quality was leading, right? Leadership. So being able to lead a woman, right? Lead feminine energy or just lead in general, right? Because I used to be passive, right? Passive and timid and unsure of myself. So through my cold approach journey, I was able to pinpoint these three qualities that I really developed through my journey, and I think these are, if a man focused on these three qualities, I believe he'd become very attractive, right? And he would be attractive to the people he's supposed to be attracted to, right? There's some people who there's some girls I'm gonna approach, and no matter how grounded in my masculinity, no matter how authentic, no matter how much, she's not gonna be into it, and that's okay. That's not my girl, right? But I go to the next girl, say the same thing, same vibe, and that girl's all over me. right? So to me, that's where it's at. Is like realizing, okay, I need to find out who I am and not try to be for everyone. You know, just be for the people that I'm supposed to connect with and accept that and accept. You know, don't judge anyone. If somebody rejects me, that's fine. Like, have a great day. You know what I mean? I'm just gonna keep it moving. You know, and it's positive. It's not like you get negative. Oh, you're a bitch or you're ugly. Or, you know what I mean? You just keep it moving and stay positive, right? So cool.
So I was thinking about something that's kind of, it does relate to the first bit, the masculinity, and it's boundaries, and that's something I'm huge on as well. And it's a literal consequence of truly knowing yourself. So what's beautiful about boundaries is that it makes so many things very simple that we tend to think are more complicated than they should be. So if you have solid boundaries, you don't, let yourself being what's the expression I'm looking for, just like a leaf in the wind kind of things. It also pertains to what you said about having a purpose and truly like having a direction and truly knowing where you're going. If you have boundaries, you don't let people slap you around in a way. And even like problems like texting, right? Um, this is a difficult text to respond to. What do I do here? Having solid boundaries makes that automatic. Like there's no thinking anymore. It's just like an automatic response to everything. It's like you know what to do. There's no more thinking involved. And that is a huge thing about being masculine. That is the core of being masculine, having boundaries. Having boundaries and leading, I would say the two most important things.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. All right, cool, bro. So we talked about true value. You know what true value means. So now, how do we? You kind of did give an example with that girl when she was in the gym or whatever. But what are maybe some other examples of communicating your true value? Like, let's say somebody starting to do cold approach, or he's starting to kind of take some action in his dating life and maybe not getting the best results. How can he communicate his true value more? And also, how can he be, because you talk about doing it without fear. So how can he be more fearless and unapologetic about it?
So I think it's a seesaw. Fear and authenticity are, I would say, there are two sides of the same coin. So you want to be as authentic as possible at all times, basically. And the more fear you have, the less authentic you can be. The reason you're being inauthentic is fear. So I mean, where do I start, man? There's so many ways to go about eliminating the fear, but I think the most central one is understanding that fear is ego. And this goes maybe a little too deep, but this is how I think about it in a more like zoomed out way, if you will. Fear is ego. And practically, if you're approaching a girl, man, the best thing you gotta do is, or the best thing you can do is expose yourself as much as possible. Because I can sit here all day and talk about theory and get into the psychology of it, but honestly, if you don't expose yourself enough, or let me just say this, exposure alone is the thing that is the highest leverage thing, the thing that truly takes care of it. And voluntarily going for it and approaching girls and talking to girls and seeing that after you're done, nothing bad has happened to you is the proof you need to keep doing it. And, you know, the fear will slowly dissolve. And the more you expose yourself, the more of a beating your ego gets or your ego takes. And egos are like, you know, like an octopus. Here in Greece, I'm in Greece right now, by the way, and like a delicacy is the octopus, right? And the more you beat it, the softer it gets. So you want to beat it real hard, right? So that at the end, you can still use it. You can still utilize your ego because without ego, You don't move about in the world. You can't navigate the world. But have an ego that serves you, that now you can be authentic. You can look a person in the eye.
Mhm.
And that's another thing too. Eye contact is huge. If you cannot keep eye contact, what are you doing here? So maybe top two pieces of advice is expose yourself and maintain eye contact at all times. If you do these things enough, these two things, you don't need a lot of material. You don't need a lot of theory. Just do.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt, bro. Looking back at my journey, I can say you're 100% right. Like, I didn't really see the improvement I wanted to see until I really accepted the fact that, yeah, I just need to expose myself. I need to get vulnerable. Like I said, I had this image, I was trying to be tough and trying to be this cool guy that I learned how to be in high school. That, because in high school, you're cool or you're going to, they'll make fun of you or whatever. And you got to kind of put up an image. And that wasn't really me. It was just me trying to not, not find myself as an oddball or some shit like that. Or, you know what I mean? I wanted to be cool. So I had to drop a lot of that shit. Cold approach, when you go out and approach women, it cuts these bullshit layers that you've built up to protect yourself, and the real you starts to come out. And one thing I'll say is, when I just started out, I was thinking too far. Like, oh, I need to pick up the girl, or I need to get her number, or I need to. No, you just need to expose yourself in little doses and build on that, right? So literally, you can go out, as you said, just go out one day and just focus on eye contact. Like when you see a girl, just look at her and smile and just walk past. Literally just something as simple as that. And then next day you do a little bit more. You make the eye contact. This time you say, "Hey, how you doing?" Or maybe you just smile and you might wave or whatever. Like whatever you can do that's slightly gonna bring up some tension and expose yourself, but not too much where it's overwhelming. You know what I mean? Because when it's overwhelming, you'll end up like getting discouraged because it's like it's too much, and like you're gonna have a hard time repeating that. But if it's a little small thing, and little by little, you just keep building on that, and at some point you find yourself like easily you could walk up to a girl and say, "Hey, I thought you were cute. I wanted to come and say hi," or whatever it is. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And it's just a vibe, right? So that yeah,
Exactly. Like
that,
get yourself the little wins and get the ball rolling, man. Like there needs to be a little bit of common sense strategy about this as well. Cause like it's easy to want to have like an like what's the word a like cookie cutter kind of like method of going about it, but it's it's so easy to just use common sense. If you're having a bad time, just make sure that you ease up a little bit, get your win here and there strategically, do the things that you like so that you treat yourself like a good friend, not like a employee in a company where you're the like the like a horrible boss. Does that make sense? And on top of that, beyond that as well, if you can realize that our default connection as human being or sorry our default state I meant as human beings is connection. So we naturally want to connect to other people, gravitate to other people, and other people gravitate towards us. And that doesn't mean just girls. It means people. Like you said something about giving a girl a compliment, which is amazing. In fact, maybe give a girl a compliment, don't expect anything in return. And maybe even beyond that, give another dude a compliment, don't expect anything in return. Just walk on the street, you see something that's cool that you like, somebody wearing a cool shirt, just do that. Connect with people. The more you do that, the more your brain sees proof that the world is a friendly place and you are liked in it. And the more then your brain is going to be giving you access to the good stuff, access to, like higher states, being happier, using the right word at the right time, combining it with the right move. And all of that is not random at all. So all of that synergizes. Just get yourself the little wins.
oh yeah. Hell yeah, no doubt. I think some people are asking questions, so let me just check real quick. All right, so Anthony said, does exposure mean the volume of approaches or how much you expose of yourself to a girl during cold approach?
Oh, well, I mean both. I mean it in a general sense. So it does mean hitting the numbers, because after all, it is a numbers game. Not necessarily in the sense that if you hit enough numbers, you can get laid, but it's like the more people you talk to, the more experience you gain.
Mhm.
And the more experience you have, the better you are at socializing. But also, on the other hand, of course, showing more of yourself to the girl, becoming more vulnerable, being out there. In fact, um, I would go so far as sacrificing, so to speak, a girl, because I was too vulnerable, rather than, refrain from sharing who I truly am, to potentially like get the girl,
Mhm.
if that makes sense. So I think it's both at the same time. Make sure you do your due diligence. Like I said, eat your broccoli, right? Talk to a lot of people. And when you do, don't try to hide your true self from who they are. Just like be obnoxiously you, man. Like just fucking like be ridiculously you. And that's what people gravitate to. Like counterintuitively, ironically.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt, man. One of
What would you say?
Yeah, I definitely agree. So he said, is it the amount of the volume, and yeah. So for me, let me look at that real quick. Volume. Yeah, it's definitely a combination, and I would say, yeah, if I had to say which one I think is more valuable as far as volume versus how much you're exposing yourself, I would say how much you're exposing yourself is more valuable in the sense that you're because you can do a lot of approaches, but like just do shit that's in your comfort zone. So you're not gonna, grow as much. Whereas if you, let's say you only did three approaches, but all three of them you were really being, vulnerable, like really just, letting yourself out there and opening yourself up to whatever's gonna happen. Like you're gonna grow a lot more from doing those three approaches versus let's say you did 30 approaches, but you just like just says some basic shit that you could easily say like hi, and then you ran away or what, you know what I mean?
The bandits, right?
Yeah,
You did the bandit.
yeah. So and I'm speaking from experience because I tried both. Like I tried the whole yeah, I just need to approach 50 girls, and but I was doing 50 week approaches, you know what I mean? Versus if you go out and I only, let's say I only talk to 5 girls today, but I really put myself out there, you grow a lot more from that, you know what I mean? Because you're getting some strong references, you know what I mean? You're exposing your insecurities, right? Well, hell, and then ran away. Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, yeah. So I would say yes, definitely both, but I would say more. If you had to value one over the other, I would say it's like that exposure to being vulnerable, opening up, and letting the true you come out because that's your character. You're building character when you do that. You know what I
There's great value in it. Yeah, absolutely. There's great value in it. You're exposed, like you're being vulnerable to get an ego beating, so to speak.
mean?
There's great value in that. I'd say if you have to choose one or the other, it kind of depends where you're at game.
Hmm.
Because if you're just starting out, I think it's I think it's and you've got maybe some social anxiety and stuff like that. Maybe it's time to talk to a lot of people as well. I couldn't say which one to prefer over the other,
Yeah.
and I really dislike these types of questions as well. Not the specific question, but like questions where it's like my the underlying meaning of the question or the frame of the question is like my energy potential or resources are limited, so I need to choose one over the other instead of doing both, right? So if you're serious about something, if you're committed to getting this handled, um, if you're given a book title, you shouldn't ask how many pages the book is. Just read the book. What are you gonna do? Not read the book? It's necessary. Just do it.
Yeah, I would say another thing that came to mind is consistency. I think that's another big part of it because like for example, if let's say this week I go out one day and I go and I be vulnerable, but then I don't go out for another month. You know what I mean? And I don't lost a lot of momentum that I could have built up and a lot of references and stuff like that. So I would say consistency is another key. Like if you truly want to build up your inner game and become the most attractive version of yourself, you want to make this like something you do. Like I'm the type of guy that goes out and expresses myself and works on my character and works on my grounded masculinity. That's the type of man I am. Like you just want to become that kind of man. It's not even like, oh, I'm just trying to do some approaches or whatever. Like I'm the type of guy that socializes. I'm the type of guy that can express himself. I'm the type of guy that sees a girl I find attractive and goes and approach. Like basically see it as I'm building this as part of my character, right? Because if you become this kind of guy, then you get to a point where you no longer have to think about this shit anymore. Like you're just that guy. You're just that guy that gets women. You're just that guy that, you know what I mean, has great conversations with strangers and all that stuff. Because you don't made the decision like, I want to be this kind of guy. You know what I mean? Like
Exactly. Yeah, 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 yeah.
so.
It's it's an identity issue because like you gotta realize you are a package. You're a package of your appearance, your results, your habits, and it's all a package deal. And it's who you are today. So if you want to become something else or somebody else, you need to change. You need to start changing. So if you do change your habits, then the rest is going to change as well. And it's that reluctance you have, that resistance you have to changing because in effect, you're going to die. You're not going to exist as this permutation anymore. You're going to start existing as that permutation. And that is very threatening. That is why consistency sometimes is hard, but it's necessary.
No doubt, no doubt. So when you're coaching guys, since you have this mystery method background, do you tell guys like, yo, go learn the mystery method, or what do you?
Not at all, not at all anymore. Even though, to be fair, there's plenty of things in the mystery method that are super valuable and still applicable today. And um, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just my approach to this is a little more um, from the side of knowing who you are and why things are not working for you. So to me, it's always about the underlying cause because if you do fix or not fix that, but understand that and start building solid boundaries and asserting them and start, you know, becoming the man that you want to be and who deserves the results that you want, everything else starts falling into place and you find that like the push pull dynamic or like not gambit but like strategy or technique, you find that it naturally starts to arise. So I'm sure you will push pull girls in the end, but it's not because you practice it as a technique, it's because it's just fucking came out of you naturally.
Yeah, that's interesting that you study the mystery method because I actually studied it too, and I have the book and I actually still pick it up here and there because um what I noticed is like there's a lot of guys out there that are like intelligent and logical, and it's good to have like some kind of structure like when you're dealing with women because if you're a logical guy that's just gonna help, right? Like I'm not saying you should like rely on it heavily, but it's cool in the back of your head. Like for example, you know, mystery has attraction, comfort, and seduction. So it's cool to be talking to a woman and knowing and have an idea in your head like, okay, yeah, I'm in attraction or I'm in, or yeah, I need to build up some. If something doesn't go well, you can kind of think, oh, I didn't build up enough comfort, or yeah, I didn't, you know what I mean? So it is cool to have it as a structure, but yeah, it shouldn't really be like something that you're relying heavily on, so you can't be who you truly are. You know what
Well, the thing is that beyond that too, it could be like a little bit of a game as well. So it's like kind of like it maybe it takes the seriousness off of it as well a little bit. It's like, oh shit, like I'm in comfort now. Like what I do, I have to bounce and I have to like time bridge. You know, like it's super cool as like kind of like an RPG.
Yeah,
It's like it's fun to do.
yeah. I don't know if you know this. You know, Mystery's in this group.
Mister's in this group.
Yeah, he's in the group.
That is so cool. Eric, what's up? If you're watching, hi. I'm a huge, huge fan of yours, dude.
Yeah, he actually the other day I made a post on if you saw your dream girl grocery store. You,
I saw you guys just chatting with each other somewhere in the
yeah,
comments.
yeah,
I remember seeing that. Yeah, that was crazy, man. It's like a full circle thing, right?
yeah, yeah, man. It's a
Oh man.
and definitely I gotta say, man, like I give him a lot of props because you know what I mean. He basically like started the whole pickup thing. You know what I mean with VH1 and he gave a lot of guys that probably would have been hopeless, you know, when it comes to women. He gave them hope, you know what I mean? So like respect, and he wrote a book and did all this shit. So respect. Um,
Absolutely.
all right, cool, bro. So let me see. I mean, anything like any new concepts or new understandings, whether it's with women or attraction or anything like that, that you could maybe share with us,
Hmm.
or any new is there anything interesting?
New exercises. Well, I touched on it a little bit before. I think this is a great exercise. I use it a lot with people who are very new to this, have little idea about pickup and flirting and all that stuff, and high levels of approach anxiety or social anxiety altogether. A good thing is what I call throwaway compliments, and I described it briefly before, but the method is this: you just walk on the street and anything you like, and the bar should not be too high. Like you can like simple, like mildly cool things, right? Anything you see that's even a little bit cool, you just call it out and you give the person a compliment. And the way you do it is maybe over the shoulder as well, a la mystery method. And you also don't expect anything in return. You just keep walking. In fact, if somebody wants to thank you or chat back to you or something like that, they should almost have to fight to get your attention. So if you do that, if you just start giving out positive energy to people, just walking on the street for 10 minutes, the moment you start walking with versus the moment you finish the exercise, you're going to be two completely different people, like completely different vibe. And because, you know, the universe usually reciprocates what you give out. So when you give out good energy, you will inevitably get it back. And and this exercise is a way to prove to yourself that the world is not a scary place. You're welcome in it, and people do enjoy your energy. But you got to do it right, though. So that's an exercise you use all the time, and it works like a charm. It's the first little step into creating social interactions and relationships, really, with people you've never met before. And that's a very good, first step.
Yeah, yeah, I love that, bro, because I feel like a lot of being able to express yourself authentically is you have to really detach yourself from the outcome. You know, like you have to
Yeah.
be communicating in a way where you're not judging the person's response. Like you're not like, oh, they have to respond in a certain way for me to be okay. Like it's like, no, you're just expressing yourself. You're just happy to be alive. You know what I mean? Like a lot of it is really just, uh, seems like self amusement or just and being grateful. Like something that I've been practicing a lot is just gratitude. Like just
Yeah,
like, yo, there's somebody out there right now who wishes they only have one arm. They wish they had two arms. And I'm like worrying about all this other stuff and not being grateful that I had two arms. You know what I mean? Like it sounds simple, but like I should be happy about that. Like be in good vibes. Just the fact like, yo, I got my health, I have food in my fridge. You know what I mean? And like if you walk up to a girl and approach a girl with that vibe, that energy, like she's gonna want to be a part of that. Like that's positive energy. That feels good to be in that, whether it's a girl or a guy. It could be a guy, it doesn't matter. Versus you walk up to her and your mindset is, I gotta get her number. Man, I hope she likes me. You know, like that's a vibe. That's a vibe. Like you said, you're putting out that energy. Like you're gonna repel her because she's like, she can feel you trying to get something from her. You're not trying to give anything. You're trying to take. You know, you're trying to take
exactly.
to feel good. So it's like just that alone makes a huge difference. Like, forget about what you're saying and what you're doing. Like, where are you coming from? What's your intention? You know what I mean?
And that goes, it's funny, that goes all the way from starting an interaction all the way to like finishing and closing, so to speak, the interaction and creating a sexual relationship. Even in sex,
Mm-hmm.
there's such a huge difference between um, people thinking that you're taking sex from them and people think that you're giving sex to them, or um, yeah, the giving and taking, basically. It's because I remember we were talking about that recently as well, and by the same token, it's the exact same thing. And all rules apply to, because we've been talking a lot about, opening and approaching and all that stuff, but the same energy and rules apply to every little step of the interaction, from opening to comfort to closing, everything.
Yeah. So, um, I guess I'm curious, bro. What do you think about, uh, like for example, like men and stuff like that? Like, does that help with your game or
I'm
attractive or?
I'm so I missed the operative word. What do I think about what?
Yeah, like for example, like meditation. Like, do you bring spirituality to how it, attraction and stuff like that, or that stuff is not necessary, or what is your view on that?
So I touched on that a little bit before, by saying that our natural state is to connect with each other. Um, Extrapolating that, maybe even like a level beyond that, is that I personally believe that we are all one. We are all consciousness or God, or there's this unity. There's just one thing that we're part of, the universe, right? Um, this is why our natural state is to connect, because our egos make us think that we're separate beings, but this is just an illusion, and somewhere deep inside it really burns us. We really want to prove this wrong, even if we don't know it, if we don't like realize it. Somewhere deep down inside we want to prove wrong the idea that we are two separate people. This is why, we hate each other so much, but we still try to do it. And like there's traffic on the street, but like all of a sudden COVID hits and there's nobody in the street, and it really sucks, and you wish for traffic to be back. And um our natural state is that. So a great way to see that is meditation. Meditation teaches you so much. Meditation taught me that our ego, which is the reason we think that we're not one, is responsible for so much. For instance, I'm gonna go like a little bit off topic here, but pain. 90% of pain is in the head. It's 90% of whatever physical pain you're experiencing, and obviously as well psychological, emotional, approach anxiety, all of that. 90% of it is your aversion towards it, is you not wanting to feel it that at that moment. For like the way I got to understand that through meditation was, I was doing a meditation retreat, and we had to meditate for a whole hour. sitting on the floor, and you gotta sit cross-legged. You don't have to, but like everybody sits cross-legged. And if you're really resistant towards it and uneasy, if your spirit is uneasy, what happens is that your tendons and your muscles start stretching, or they don't start stretching, but they are in a stretched position. So they start hurting. So like at 30 minutes, you're uncomfortable. At 45 minutes, you're starting to really hurt. At 50, 55 minutes, it's unbearable. However, day by day, nothing really changes physically, anatomically, physiologically, nothing really changes. Still sit there the next day in the same position. However, if you really give up, if you really decide that, you know what, I'm going to be here, I'm going to be relaxed, my spirit will be relaxed no matter what happens. If you really make that conscious decision and just sit there, then you realize that, yeah, there is a minor stretch in your abductors or whatever, but it's nothing. Like it's like an afterthought, and you realize how much of the pain that you were experiencing was just in your head. This is insane. And extrapolate that to all other, things and bad, quote unquote, bad feelings that you experience, and everything else that you're like against and resistant to. How much shit in your life is just in your head?
Yeah, bro. Now the reason I asked you about that, bro, because recently, recently meaning maybe like the middle of last year is when I really started looking into meditation. Like I used to think meditation was corny and woo woo and all that stuff, but I started doing it and being consistent with it. I started to notice a difference, man. Like just being more peaceful, more open, more accepting, less judgmental, more centered, more grounded, right? Just a bunch of great qualities. Just felt better, bro. Raised my vibration, my frequency. You know what I mean? I learned what that stuff means and all of that. And now I'm looking at it like I think that's like if you want to become the ultimate attractive man, like if you can combine that grounded masculinity and that, that kind of, edge like that, even that bad boy element, but then bring that spirituality to it, bro. That's like you're a whole different beast, bro, because that's like a very interesting dynamic. It's like, and you know what I mean? And my thing is like, you want to show up as like a whole different beast. Like, you don't want to just be, yeah, she can just put you in a box. Oh, he's just one of those guys. Like, you show up and she's, what is this guy? You know what I mean? Like, where did he, is this an alien? Like, because you're just so different. You don't give a fuck.
Alien.
Like, bro,
I think that's a great way to put it. You're a whole different beast. You're something that she's never seen before, and sometimes I do experience that, and sometimes I experience that with girls on me. Like, wow, this girl's cool, and I think it's combining that element of um, being grounded, but at the same time just being present and being masculine at the same, like just combining everything.
yeah,
And uh, I there was something I want to say here. Exactly that when you do all this, when you are in that, so to speak, position, your words have gravity.
yeah,
It's like you don't have to say much, but the little things you say, they hit home.
yeah, yeah, no doubt, bro, no doubt, man. So cool, brother. I really appreciate you coming on and sharing with us your wisdom and experiences. And and can you kind of like tell us, okay, like if somebody really got value from you or whatever, where would they be able to find your information or get in contact with you, that kind of stuff?
Yeah, sure. If you guys want to hang out or hit me up, or if you want to say hi or thank you or Alex, you're an asshole, all opinions welcome. You just hit me up either right here on my Facebook or on my Instagram. It's Alex Valmont, like my name. And other than that, I was super happy to be here, man. It's always happy to hang out with you, and that's all I got.
No doubt, no doubt. Appreciate you, brother. Thank you, fellas, for watching this presentation, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Thanks, bro. Peace.
Bye.